Hey everybody, it's Brooke. I wanted to share a couple journals that I just finished with you before they go to their forever homes. These are both already spoken for, but I did want to share them because I like how they came out. I thought they were super cute. So they're pretty similar. I'll go through them pretty quickly. They're both space, moon, stars, sort of themed, and they're both called I Love You to the Moon and Back, 1 and 2. So this is the first one. Obviously made it with a Cat in the Hat space book, learning about our solar system. Made a new spine for it and covered it with some different layers of fabric. I love the yellow sticking out, so I used yellow first and then kind of frayed it and overlaid it with this other piece that I think is Tim Holtz. And made an elastic closure with a hitch post in the front. So that is that, some washi tape and a couple stickers. Then when you open it up, oops, I left the inside title or cover page pretty plain because I like it. There's no place like space. And then I put in an envelope with a little closure on it. And this is also a tuck spot. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in there, but something will go in there. Then this is scrapbook paper folded up to make a paper. Ooh, that's quite a glare. Tag I made out of book page. This is a book that I found at the dump store, actually, that was like an encyclopedia of space. And this has the identification of celestial bodies. The acetate rolls up or pulls up, and it's got all the information printed in gold on it, and then it overlays onto the stars. I thought that was so cool. And the next page is a kid's coloring book that I folded in. Creepy looking sheep. Why do I always forget what this is called? For Pete's sake. It's not grid paper. It is, you know, that kind of paper. Ledger paper. Thank you. Junk mail envelope with one of these little triangle flip ups and a tuck spot there. This is the other side of the envelope. And I've made a tag with a little fabric topping there. Fabric page with fabric that I have had, I'm guessing, for 25 years, probably. And I just had little scraps left of it, but I loved it. So that's the next page. This is one of the printables that I made, one of the digital printables. And these are going to be free on Facebook. It'll be a Dropbox file where you can download these pages that I made if you're interested. This is the back of it. It's a woman holding her baby, and there's a full moon and a little quote in there. This is from paper stack from Michael's. That's the paper that I use mostly through the book. God, this is so blown out. It's so flashed out. Hopefully you can see it. I don't know why it is. Regular graph paper. This is from a book that I bought on clearance at BAM, Books A Million, that has all sorts of dragons and fairies and cool creatures like that. So I included pieces of that book. More of the graph paper, the other side of that little half piece. Another piece that I made, digital page that I made. This is the other side of the Japanese-looking one. I don't know if you can really tell because it's so flashed out, but it looks like it was maybe rice paper laid over an ink drawing, and the texture really shows through in there. It's really cool. And then there is a photo sleeve, and I tucked in a little Old Maid card and a label. More junk mail. Here is another ledger page. Hey, I got it in one. Yay me. The other side of those super creepy sheep. More scrapbook paper folded out. I've left quite a lot of writing space and drawing space and photo space and just memory keeping space in here. They are going to be graduation gifts, so I think that these people will have lots of things to put in their books. You can peek through here and see that I used some music note fabric from Tim Holtz to reinforce the inside of the spine, and it kind of peeks through the signatures. This is another page from that paper stack. Here is a charm that I just love. It's little blue stones and stars and pearlescent beads. Just put that on a regular paper clip. More graph paper, more of that cool book. the colors I think are so beautiful. Here is a brown paper bag, and it's got a little drum applique that I've had for 100 years. I picked it up at a thrift store in a bag of mixed up appliques and things, and it's sort of fitting for this person. And this is just a paper bag, and there's nothing in there right now. Another one of the digital pages that I made. This is a page from another space book talking about what happens in space. It's like a kid's book about astronauts. And yeah, I first thought I put this in upside down, and then I realized that they're floating because there's no gravity. Yeah. The other side of that page. This is lined children's paper with an index page that I reinforced the spine with, and then a cutout from the Dr. Seuss book that I just fussy cut and stuck in there. Another page from the Hot Buy paper pad from Michaels. A little card. Some of the cutouts from that book I just stuck in this little pocket. There's the other side of that. More of the children's writing paper, and I reinforced the spine of this paper with robot washi tape that I thought was super cute. There's the back side of that paper with the index page sort of reinforcing it where I sewed it into the book. The children's book page. Another one of the digital pages that I made. Whoops. And I did have this little tiny bead. Sparkly blue, I don't know if you can tell. There we go. On a Tim Holtz paper clip, just hanging out on here. That's the back side of the digi paper that I made. The other side of that bag, and inside here there's another envelope for putting things, secret messages or what have you. There's more of that book, and the other side of it. Here's more graph paper. This is the back side of the scrapbook paper from Michaels. There's that pretty music paper, or music note fabric again. This is the next signature that I think I started all of the signatures with the scrapbook paper because it is nice and firm. It's a good way to start a signature and have everything sort of stay together. A pocket that I stitched in, and another one of the cutouts from the pad. Here's another page from that book. And this one actually folds out. I think I need to trim this a little bit. But isn't she beautiful? See if I can get it without a glare. Sort of steampunk. I don't know. The colors, this mermaid, I don't know. I loved everything about it. This is a little page that I made from a phone book. I love how phone books sound, and I like how they feel. So I just stitched 2 pages together. Stitched this vine along the edge and a little postage stamp. More graph paper. More of the scrapbook paper. And there's a fold out. This is just dot grid paper from Michaels. I really like the weight of this. The pads that they sell are really nice, and they take watercolor surprisingly well. Here is just some old sketchbook paper, and there's a quote on here saying, "Be glad of life because it gives you a chance to love and to work and to play and to look up at the stars." And that's the middle of the signature, and that's the rest of that page. More dot grid paper. This is more of the scrapbook paper, and I have a little embellished paper clip that I made that I just love. It's canvas, and it's got some little bits and some glitter and some thread, and so I made that. And then this is jelly paper that I jelly printed on and made a little envelope out of. And I just stuck a little card in there. So I love these bags that I made. I love the colors. I love how they sound. I love jelly printing. It's so much fun. So stick that back on there. Easier said than done, apparently. There we go. And there's more graph paper. A note page that says, or a notepad rather, that says Bright Ideas. And it's stitched onto the other side of that phone book. The other side of that, and more of that book. Another lady with a city coming out of her head and full moon, and I just love it. Okay, how many times can I say that about that book? And I would tell you what it is, but I used it up and I don't know what it is. I will look. If I can find the remnants of it, I will put it down in the description, but I don't think I have anything left. Here's a journaling card stuck into a stitched pocket. Next signature again is the paper pad from Michaels. And then this is some very old drawing paper, like a scribble pad from, I think, the 50s, and a sticker strip that I had, and put it on there. Dragon from that book, another little half page, and a glassine bag. This is an old children's book page, and I just love The Lady and the Kangaroo. And then there they are again. So I just folded that up and stuck it in there. And here's a little printable that I think is from Tsunami Rose. And I put that in there as well. This is an envelope. Well, this is an index clip from Tim Holtz, which I really like because they hold really well. But this is an idea that I got from Wendy's Journal Adventures, and we will link her down below. But she's been on a tear using up her Project Life cards as well. And this was this great idea where she used 2 of them to make this little envelope and stitched it together. And she used paper, but I used, as we can see from the glare, I'll turn it over, I used a magazine page from the National Geographic and another scrap of that fabric. And then the inside is a pocket, and it's just got a little journaling tag, another piece of paper, some washi tape, a little tab, and a charm sticking out. So that's a lot of fun. You could also put a photo in here, whatever you'd like to slide in there. And then you have a little secret place, and it's got the tab right there. So I love that idea, and as I said, I will, okay, The Nice Old Man, will link Wendy down below because she's just genius. So there's that. Dot grid paper. Oh, that index clip made a little mark. Oh well, it's a junk journal, it'll be fine. More just plain parchment paper. This is more of the digi paper that I made. The back side of that. And the paper from Michaels, the same paper pad. In the pocket, I tucked in a, I don't think this is Squirrel Nutkin, it's one of the Beatrix Potter books. And this person is an animal lover, so there's some kittens. This is a card about recycling. It's some kind of educational flashcard, and so I stuck that in there with a tab. The back side of that paper, the other side of the digi paper that I made, and then that's the other side of that. Just some plain old parchment paper, some dot grid paper. This is the other side of the glassine bag, and I just stuck in a label and a ticket. Just goodies to use in the book. Here's more of the scrapbook paper. Here's more of that book with the crazy illustrations, and I love the butterflies on those. This is the other side of that scribble pad. And more scrapbook paper. That's the back side of this signature. And the last signature again starts with a piece of the scrapbook paper, and I fussy cut this little girl out, or this thing too, out from the Dr. Seuss book and just glued on. This is a little card with washi samples, and it's got a little sparkly diamond charm on it. I love paper clips, if you haven't been able to guess. Inside this pocket is a sheet of handwritten music, and this came from a playbook, like a, not a script, but the musical score of a play that I found in an antique store, and it's got a lot of handwritten notes on it, and the front cover says, "Do not write on professional copy," and I just thought it was really cool. So that's that, and then there's a big tag that I made with my Cricut. And on this page I have a clip that has that music note paper just tied on. And this is a page from a 1959 Saturday Evening Post. It's an advertisement, but it's reaching for the moon, and I just thought that was a super cool ad. And so I tucked that in there. Oh, and the page it's clipped to, I forgot, is some vintage stationery that I found, like letterhead that I found at an auction. That's the back of that letterhead. This is more of the kids' writing paper, more of that children's book on space and astronauts. And more of the scrapbook paper. This is more just regular computer paper, lightweight. Here's another triangle tuck where you can do some journaling on the inside. And in here I have a Project Life card and a coffee dyed guest check. Is that a guest check? No, I guess it's just a sales receipt. And the page itself is some vintage music. I don't know if I said this already, but both people who are receiving these journals are musicians. So this is the center of the signature, and I actually made a double pocket from the scrapbook paper, and then I stitched on this baggie to make another pocket, and behind that pocket is a tuck spot. So all kinds of real estate on this page, and then there's a pocket in here as well. Here's a journaling card in this pocket. Then on this side there is a little tuck and some foil washi tape that I stitched on. Wow, lost my words again. What a surprise. Here's more of that vintage paper. The other side of the computer paper. And more of the scrapbook paper, the children's book about astronauts. Aren't they cute? I want to say it's Richard Scarry that illustrated this, but I'm not sure. Wow, I was prepared for this, wasn't I? Yay me. Here's more children's writing paper. And here is the other side of that stationery. Just have some gauze stitched on there, and then there's a little tiny moon on this bulb pin, and it says Dreamer on it. There is the back side of the signature, folded up, stitched pocket. And this is the inside of the book where I used some vintage children's music paper. This is the fabric that I reinforced the spine with. A little bit of washi tape, the elastic closure. And I found this great stamp at Hobby Lobby that said, "Inspired by life, created by hand, one-of-a-kind art crafted by, or created by," and then you can sign your name. And I've had several people ask me to please sign my work. So I bought that stamp and just stamped it on some muslin and signed it. And that is that. The video is 17 minutes long, so I think I will go through this second one lickety-split and we will call it a day. So the second one is in this Introduction to Organic Chemistry book. And I just covered the spine with that same music note paper. Very plain on the outside, but I hand dyed some seam binding for the closure. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's really vibrant pinks and purples, and it actually has some sparkle to it as well. And I just did a hitch knot around the eyelets that I set in with my crocodile. And this, again, is very, very similar. Shh, it says property of the U.S. government, but I found it at a junk store, so I guess it's okay. It's got 5 signatures again, same kind of scrap. It's the same pad of scrapbook paper, same kind of paper, same kind of charms. Nothing much different in here. This person is an artist, so I did include some different kinds of paper to be drawn on. This is that scribble pad. This is some very old tracing paper. My own digital printable. Some music paper. Glassine envelope with goodies. A little half page. More of the kids' book. Another little half page. The glassine bag. Triangle tuck, little quote from one of the books, my digi page. That's that same tracing paper and old scribble pad. Another ledger page. Oh, I got it in one again. Yay. Maybe it's finally stuck in my brain. This folds out, and this is a packing tape transfer of an egg in a basket, which is a fried egg and toast. And I love that image. It just cracked me up, so I stuck it in there. Some of that cool encyclopedia paper that I stitched onto this pocket. There's a tag in there. Another one of the charms with the big blue and silver bead. Graph paper. That scribble paper. And ledger paper. children's writing paper, little half page that folds, more of my digi paper, phone book paper, that little kid book, some pretty lace. This is vintage lace that I stitched on the edge, and it's got that sparkly star on a bulb pin. Digi paper, a half page, children's writing paper, ledger paper. Look at me go. Hope I'm not making you dizzy. I fussy cut this out of the Cat in the Hat book and stuck it on there. More of that scribble paper, graph paper, a little Project Life card that says I love you to the stars and back, and I tucked an Old Maid card that says painter in there. Next signature, some of that vintage letterhead. The texture of that paper is really nice. I thought it might be fun to draw on. A piece of tracing paper with a little saying, keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. Washi tape sample on some watercolor paper. Here's some of that cool book, which is just known as, yes, that cool book. And that folds out. Here's some dot grid paper, a junk mail envelope with a triangle tuck on it. I just put a card and a little quote in there. And I put one of those coffee dyed sales receipts inside the envelope. Scrapbook paper, one of the vintage children's book pages in there. This is another one of the envelopes that I saw Wendy on Wendy's Journal Adventures make. Scrapbook paper, the other side of that envelope. Dot grid paper. The cool book. Here's the other side of the watercolor paper. More tracing paper. Here's that full identification of celestial bodies where the acetate flips up and you just see the stars, and then there's some secret journaling space under there as well. Scrapbook paper with a flip. The next signature is the scrapbook paper folded up to be a pocket. A Project Life journaling card. This is more of that old scribble book. This is just regular computer paper, but it's older. This is a fabric flip that has some eyelet stitched onto it, and it's actually stitched onto the plastic you can see is a photo sleeve that's folded in and stitched into the signature. This is just plain old computer paper that folds out. Here's more of that book, a little piece of it. I love those colors in the wings. Scrapbook paper with a triangle tuck, and two of the cards, the cutouts that came with the book. There's that awesome illustration. Again, it's so shiny. That's the middle of the signature. And then there's the back page that is all purples and pinks. Here's another one of those little paper clips that I made that has some mulberry paper and some little bits and scraps and a flower on it. And I've just got one of the cutouts clipped onto the page with that. That's scrapbook paper, more of that cool book. Fold out on computer paper. There's the other side of the page I was telling you about that had the photo sleeve stitched onto it. That is more computer paper and some of that beautifully aged scribble paper. This is a pocket, a tuck spot, and a giant tag I made on my Cricut. Beautiful stretchy trim here in purple. This person is quite fond of purple, if you can't tell. And this came from my friend Allie Commons. Thank you, Allie. It's the scrapbook paper, another piece of the scrapbook paper. Fussy cut this little thing out of the Dr. Seuss book and pasted them in. This is another one of the deli paper envelopes that I made, and I have it paper clipped in with this beautiful little sparkly bead. And I just have a little parchment journaling spot. Again, I think this is Tsunami Rose, but I'm not positive. And that's on dot grid paper. And this is some old sketchbook paper that had been torn out of the book badly, and I like how it looked, so I just left it. A Rite Aid bag, a round paper bag, washi tape trim. I've got a journaling card on the inside. Good place to put your goodies. This is the other side of that bag. Just some computer paper. A smaller piece of that scrapbook paper. Another one of my printables. This is more of the watercolor paper. Scrapbook paper and some of that cool paper. I don't know why I keep moving this around. I can't keep it straight. Isn't that beautiful? The girls inside the bubble, inside the bubble, inside the bubble. And the colors are just yummy. And this is the scrapbook paper. And on this I have glued, I think it's a Patricia Viramonte's pocket, but I made it from a vintage magazine. And you've got a pocket back here in the back. There's a pocket right here. There's a pocket right here. And I just think that's the coolest thing ever. Lots of real estate. More of that watercolor paper. Another one of my printables. There's the back side of it. More of the scrapbook paper. I was trying to use up all the scraps and all the sizes. Computer paper. The other side of that Rite Aid bag. That old sketchbook paper that ripped out funny. Some dot grid paper. And this is some stickers that I had. These are sticker strips that I've had forever. And I just put them on the back side of this scrapbook paper. This is the fabric that I use to reinforce the spine. It's vintage perfume bottles. I think it's so pretty. And I just left the back the way it was because I love that someone was taking notes. And it's government property, people. They were writing right in there. Pretty nervy, if you ask me. And then I put that Inspired by Life tag with my signature on. And that's the back of it. So thank you so much for sticking with me. This was way longer than I thought it would be, but I did want to share them. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe down below so you don't miss any of the fun. Come check us out on Facebook. As I said, the printables that I made will all be free as a Dropbox download. And yeah, it was great spending some time with you. Come and check us out down below, every place you can stalk us on the interwebs. You guys have a great day, and thanks for stopping by. Bye.